Yes!
So, are you guys ready for this show?
Fucking better be.
I'm ready.
So ready?
Ready.
Right. No, wait, no, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I wasn't ready. I lied. I just said it
sorry.
because you asked, and I just wanted to.
It was a panic reaction.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
No, I'm ready now. I'm ready. Now I'm ready.
Ready.
Apparently you're not, though.
And we are good.
Ring, 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 ring. Ring, 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 ring.
Is it this phone ring? We need the phone to ring.
There we go.
Oh, there it is.
Sir, I had nothing to do with Grimacin and Snow. I just said...
I don't give a damn about what you said. Grimerson walked past you and the perimeter guard, started a fight with Snow with powers far beyond your previous fucking report, and killed Freefall. What do we pay you for, Riggs?
Viskel's face was burning red, and the oh-so-familiar veins on the side of his head and neck were popped down. He stalked toward Panzer, menacing her with his stature. Panzer stood fast and squared her shoulders. When Viskel went to poke his forefinger into her chest, she shoved him back.
You don't pay me to be your punching bag, Richter. With all due respect, if you want to blame anyone for this, take a look at yourself. You're the one who decided to move forward with the award ceremony after we learned that Grim Raven was Grimacin, his connection to Snow, the motive, and how far into the GSO he's gotten. This is on your head, Director, and I'm not taking the fall for it.
This time it was Panzer driving the director back with a finger to the middle of his chest.
How dare!
How dare you, Director? You're the head of the GSO. You take responsibility.
Get out.
Panzer slammed her fist across Viskel's jaw, sending the bureaucrat spinning to the floor.
Happy to, sir.
Panzer strode out of the office and tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. He wasn't surprised to receive a notice of termination from GSO HR. It hadn't been an hour since Grim and Snow engaged in combat, yet, prompt as always when it suited them, the GSO was on the ball.
Ma'am, you're going to have to leave any GSO property and or weaponry and in this
It's back in the bunk. All this is mine.
but
The guard looked over her shoulder at her signature hand cannon. Panzer's face split into a menacing smile.
Oh, no. Dag, he's mine.
Ma'am, I've been given specific instructions to...
Piss off with your instructions. Daddy's coming with me unless you want to see how he got his name. What makes him angry?
Martinez exchanged a look with the other directly behind Panzer and shook his head.
Have a pleasant evening, ma'am.
Reckon I will.
The walk to the storage facility was a cold one. Seasons were changing, and Atreyu had been out and about, flexing his powers, which always brought a little chill to the air.
Come on. Come on, work.
Panzer passed the fob over the entrance gate's pad, and it raised for her. There was no reason why it shouldn't have. She let out a breath she didn't know she'd been holding, grateful that the GSO hadn't seized any of her assets. She moved through the complex to row D, Unit 110, and pressed her thumb to the pad outside the door. The flimsy metal thing slid to the side, revealing Panzer's modest stash of the necessities. Her hands swiftly found the light switch she rigged into the unit and flipped it.
Hello, lovelies. First things first.
Panzer found the steel bucket that she'd maintained since boot camp. The thing was covered in dents, gouges, and grazes from knives, bullets, shovels, and who knew what else.
There you are.
She filled it up and stepped outside of the unit, filling it with water from the spigot outside, and walked back in toward the back corner. After some rummaging, she found the two things she was looking for: a small music box and the case she kept Hemi's straight razor in. She brushed her thumb over the dog tag welded to the top of the box. Hemi Norman, ID, motorcade, AB, undeclared. She opened the box and withdrew the sharpening strop and razor. Dragging the blade back and forth across the strop was a near meditative experience for her. The sound was certainly less grating than Hemi's singing voice. She could almost hear him as she went about preparing to shave.
So what? We don't know where Tango is? No worries, right? We either find them or they find us. We adapt, neutralize, and move on. That's all there is to it. Right, Riggs?
Blockbuster, Nova, Comcom, Long Eye, Juice, and Reload.
Panzer opened the music box. A lazy, warbling lullaby played and echoed in the metal storage unit. He wiped the dust off of the small, cracked mirror inside and rested her fingers on the dog tags inside.
Hey, lads. Sorry it's been a bit since my last visit. I'm here now. I know. Just like Riggs to go AWOL for a spell, then come back looking for help. But I need you all. We're out here on our own. No backup from HQ, and the rookie's stuck somewhere with Tango. What do you say? One last hurrah?
The music box continued its tone as Verna Riggs shaved the back and side of her head, ditched the fatigues that she'd walked out with, changed, and set some quick dye in her hair. While at process, she checked the gear she'd prepped to go. The gas-fueled motorcycle was idling outside. Her holster from 2050, for the first version of Angry Daddy, was a bit tighter than she remembered, but held him just as close as she wanted. Hemi's .45 fit well in her hip holsters, and Long Eye's 6-shooter and gun belt hung off of her left hip in just the right spot. Panzer finished up in the storage unit, shut the door, and went to get on her motorcycle.
Hello, Panzer.
Panzer arched a brow at her. It had been a long time since she allowed herself to use the powers that she inherited from Blockbuster, Nova, Comcom, Reload, and Juice. They were with her now. They were all there to help how they could. Something about this woman seemed familiar.
Do I know you?
Hey, Riggs, you catch that whiff? I mean, I know you seeing what I'm seeing, but even that smell. Smoking.
I don't think we've been introduced. Then why have I smelled you before?
Whoa, Riggs! Coming on a little strong, don't you think?
Excuse me? The night that Brandau's men hit the bank during the rookie's exam, after he took whatever was in that vial, smoke and briar roses, I suppose...
You got her on the back foot now, Riggs.
You're his mystery backer, aren't you? Caught me red-handed. Shall we get down to business? The business of me beating you legless? Let's. Just a moment, Panzer. I'm not here to start trouble. I'm here to help. And trust me, you don't want any of my trouble. Oh, trust me, sweets. Whatever trouble you've got, I can handle. You can take your help and cram it. Now, off the bike before I mount your head on the handlebars.
The red-skinned woman turned a shade of dark purple for a split second before a thick tail thumped against the ground and pushed her fully upright.
Suit yourself, Panzer.
Panzer waved the small cloud of smoke away, got on the motorcycle, revved the engine to cover her frustrated yell, and streaked away from the facility.
I'm impressed, Mr. Grimerson. I don't think I've heard someone I don't think I've heard someone think, fuck you, quite so many times consecutively.
Psyker stepped back from Sorley and removed her hand from his shoulder. Glad to do so. He was familiar with how her powers worked. The more contact she made with the subject, the easier it was for her to pry into their minds. It had been almost all he could do to resist her influence, and she hadn't even been touching his bare skin. If I could just put the mask back on,
See?
I could...
I told you that we were going to have a lot of fun. Ready for another taste?
Shit. Panzer fanned the hammer of Long Eye's six-shooter and swept the barrel across the hall. 6 of Brandau's enhanced thugs dropped, clutching at their chests and gasping for air.
You're all lucky I decided to use the non-lethal rounds. Buck up, lads.
The last standing thug, the one directly in front of the door, had his sawed-off leveled at her. Panzer's eyes danced over the weapon. It was a 12-gauge and loaded with slugs.
With how much distance I'll close before this fella gets jumpy and pulls the trigger. The first slug will 6 centimeters or so to the right of the old belly button. The second shot, assuming he fired right away, and the recoil, especially considering how shaky the bloke is, would hit in the middle of the left side of my collarbone.
The 2 shots boomed, impacted exactly where Panzer had calculated, her own powers at work. The slugs folded against her hardened skin and clattered harmlessly to the floor.
Woo! That's right, Riggs! Give him the gun show! Flex on this fool!
How good are you at maths? How good are you at maths?
What? Oh shit, get it, girl.
Panzer crumpled the barrel of his weapon in the grip of her left hand and kicked his feet out.
It's a simple question, mate. Let's have an answer.
I can do the math.
So, there are 7 of you in this hall, 6 of you are down, and the chamber of this gun has room for 6 shots, doesn't it?
Yes. So you're empty?
Am I? How many shots did you hear? See, I can't remember if I shot 5 or 6 times. Too excited, you see. So, let me ask you again. How good are you at maths?
You gotta be empty.
Let me get that for you, darling.
Panzer smirked as a round freed itself from the gun belt and slid into the waiting empty chamber.
I'm never empty.
Please, don't.
Run along and get Xander. Come on now, Shark Biscuit. Up, go on.
No. Means no. Bitch.
Oh, Mr. Grimerson, I already told you. Your right to remain silent has been revoked.
Psyker shoved the table aside and sat on the block of ice that was Sorley's lap.
Scream for me, won't you?
At that, she placed both her hands on either side of Sorley's head and plunged into his mind. He couldn't control what she saw. He couldn't steer his thoughts. The past 6 hours. The interrogation. His skirmishes with Arclight and Atreyu. The fight with Freefall. All of it flashed before his eyes, but slammed to a halt before the interior of Isto's warehouse was revealed. Orly's right hand burned, and he could feel the freedom of movement as ice started to melt away.
Vidar.
Are you Australian? Because you meet all of my qualifications.
Leap appeared next to Panzer, leaning on the bar top.
Does that ever work? No. But buying you for a job from your new boss sure does. What's the job? There's a little birdie we both know that's caged up. I aim to spring that cage. Well, isn't that convenient?
And scene.
That's it.
The
Acting.
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 Sir Ian, Sir Ian, Sir Ian, Sir Ian, Sir Ian. Candles, you shall not pass! Sir Ian, Sir Ian, Sir Ian, Sir Ian.
So fucking funny.
Oh man, one of my favorite shows ever.
Oh, so
yeah.
good.
So, it feels like we're highlighting a new character every episode now during this season. Is that what we're doing?
That's kind of what we're doing, right? So Sorley's locked up, right? We know that Sorley's locked up, and there's this kind of there's this maelstrom of events that's going to happen around it, and all kind of converge as we get closer to the season 2 finale, where pretty much everything that we're seeing happen, right, between like Leap's episode, the very beginning where Sorley actually gets captured, and this episode, right, and the next couple, where it's all going to kind of come together and turn into this massive cluster mess all at the same time. And it's all gonna kind of make sense, but we're definitely doing that by highlighting a new character every episode so far.
Awesome. Can you spoil who we're if we're following somebody new next time?
So maybe not entirely new. We're gonna get some different snippets, right? So we're gonna be following both Leap and Panzer interacting together. So we've got this criminal that's on the run that this other person has shot, and this person is now no longer a good guy, right? So we're gonna see a lot of that happening, and then we're gonna get a little bit more of background on Isto and the supplier, because they've been here and kind of featured, right? But nobody knows what their deal is. So we're going to learn a little bit more about that.
Nice.
Excellent.
That's awesome.
It's going to be a lot of
more
fun.
Isto.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he's coming. Don't worry.
Everyone's favorite. All right, so
He is everyone's favorite. I've noticed.
So Sorley, Sorley is still fucked at the moment.
Yep.
A little bit.
Just a pinch.
Hopefully he can get free
Maybe.
soon, or we get an awesome torture scene where Justin's just gonna scream the whole time.
I could do that for requests only.
Yeah, I think that's
Just
a good one.
me
For
being
fucking
tortured.
10 minutes straight.
Oh, not the bees! Not the bees!
Best thing committed to film in history.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely.
Truer
Well-
statements have never been spoken.
This one was awesome. I feel like we're even honing in on the sound effects, like getting everything
The
timed
sound effects
better.
were really on point.
Yeah.
So,
I agree.
Um,
So pretty much how this usually goes, just because we've been doing the every other week thing, is that I have an every other week meeting with Ahmed, and we go through the script and we make sure that everything like lines up where we want it to be specifically, and do a little bit of sound engineering. It's hilarious. We get into some really funny conversations during those times. It's a lot of fun. I like working with them.
yeah, Ahmed is a wizard, so
He is.
everyone likes working with him. Well,
It's true.
thanks so much for another awesome script, Mr. Joe DiProfio.
You're very
It was
welcome.
amazing.
Next one should be in 2
Well
weeks.
done.
All right. Well,
So-
we'll be ready for it. Let's see.
Excellent.
All right.